Good morning, Brandeis Marin. Good morning, lower school. Good morning, entire community. This is Mrs. R, and today is Friday, the 22nd of May, 2020, and we are ending our ninth week of distance learning. It was wonderful to see so many of you at Tefillah yesterday, and as I come into your classes. Last week, we talked about probability, and that probability is the math of making a prediction. It's not just a guess because it's based on some data, evidence, or information, and some guessing, and that's the merging of it. We don't always know how it's going to turn out, but we know sometimes when it is likely to be one thing or another. In this case, today, I want to show you a couple things you can do, some fun games that you might want to do at home to test out some probability. The first thing is to take a coin, and I have a penny. And we know that a coin in our country for sure has a head, this is Abraham Lincoln, and a tail. They have both sides. If you flipped it randomly, it would land on either the head or the tail. You don't know until you do it. This time it landed on the tail. It could have just as easily landed on the head. But my question is, if you were going to flip a coin 100 times, would it land on the heads more or the tails more? So I challenge you to do it. I started already a tally sheet. I did some flips already. In this case, I got way more heads than tails. I got 10 heads and one tail. I only did it 11 times. So a tally is a very easy way to do it because you do 4. You keep track of every time you do a head or a tail, you make a line, and then the next one is another, and then the fifth one is like this. So it's really easy to count by fives. We've already done that. So I know you know how to do it. The other thing you could also do is you could roll a die. How many times will it land on a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6? Will it land on one more than the other? It's fun to do it, and it's fun to try it 100 times. 100 would give you a really good idea of how much. But I want to ask you a question. Will it land on one side more than another every single time? Or are they all equal opportunities? It happens with a coin with 2 opportunities. It happens with a die, 6 opportunities. What if you roll 2? That's called dice. How many opportunities do you have there? Well, you couldn't get a 1. It would start with snake eyes, which is 1 on each one. And you could go all the way to 2 6s. How many times, what's the number that you roll most, and why is that? That's a really fun thing to try out. You might want to take a chart like this. We did this in Buddies a few years ago. Some of you might remember it. You might want to take a chart and make a bar graph. That would be super fun. I know a lot of you love math, and I know a lot of you love games. Probability is kind of the merging of both of those things. So I challenge you to have fun with coins, with dice, and anything else that you can make a prediction, a mathematical prediction about. In the meantime, you have a 3-day weekend. You earned it. Man, we have been working hard. And the weather's going to be beautiful, or at least the weather person predicts it's going to be beautiful. We all know from last week that it's not always the case, but I believe it will be. It's going to be warm. So I hope you get a chance to be outside. I hope you get a chance to welcome in the summer season. We have a little bit more school, but the summer season is upon us. I'm wishing you a wonderful Shabbat full of rest and a weekend full of lots of fun. And I predict that if you try some coin or dice activities, you will have some great answers for me. So, Shabbat Shalom. I will see you next week.